Greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the internet, the John Campea Show, coming to you from right here on my YouTube channel. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea. It is an honor and a privilege to have you guys joining me here today, as it is every day, as we talk about our favorite things in the world, movies, movie news, all that sorts of good stuff. We got a lot of stuff to cover today, so let's dive right in with the way we start most of our shows, which is revisiting and looking at the results of yesterday's question of the day. Now, yesterday's question of the day revolved around a story that came out that Marvel and Taika Waititi have been meeting again. Now, one of the things they may have been meeting about, we don't know this for sure, but may have been perhaps Taika Waititi could direct Guardians of the Galaxy 3 now that James Gunn isn't. So the question of the day yesterday was simply this for you guys. Do you think Taika Waititi, the director behind What We Do in the Shadows and of course Thor Ragnarok, do you think he would make a good director for Guardians of the Galaxy 3? And here's what you guys said. Yes, you guys said, the majority of you guys, 61.57% of you said yes, Taika Waititi would be a good fit to direct Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which is great. And then, how many here? 4.69% of you said no, they should get somebody else. But then a whopping 33.75% of you said, hey, with all the drama that's been going on, we've lost interest in Guardians of the Galaxy 3. So, a majority of you guys said, yes, he'd be a good fit. But I'll be honest, I'm surprised. A little bit more of you said you've lost interest because of all the drama than I expected, 33.75% of you. So there you have it. That is the results of yesterday's question of the day. And now, of course, we have a new question of the day today that we will get to in just a little bit. Now, before we get to our main topics, another story kind of came out this morning that caught my attention. Now, of course, Netflix is the monster media company right now, right? Now, a lot of people, you guys will remember that they started not as a streaming service, but rather Netflix started as a DVD rental club that you paid like however many dollars a month, $10 a month, $20 a month, and you got 2, 3, or 5 DVDs at once that you could have. You had your queue online. They sent you 5 DVDs or 3 DVDs, whatever your plan was. Then as soon as you send 1 or 2 back, they send you the next 1 or 2 on your list, right? It was a pretty cool thing, but that's been dead and gone for a long time, right? Well, no. According to new reports that come out, Netflix still has about 3 million subscribers to their DVD service. Now, that's way down from the almost 14 million subscribers they had back in 2011. But in the last year or two, they've only lost 1 or 2 million subscribers. There's still a real hardcore group of around 3 million people that still subscribe to Netflix's DVD rental service. And according to CSNBC, that rental service is still profitable for Netflix. Unlike the streaming service isn't profitable, but the DVD rental service is still profitable. Now, I've seen some people online going, these must just be 3 million people who have forgotten to cancel. No, look, I'm not a DVD subscriber either, but there is a damn good reason to still have DVD subscription. Look, if you're somebody who still likes to use your DVD player, Blu-ray player, or whatever, fact of the matter is, don't forget, Netflix doesn't really show many movies. I mean, most of the new movie releases that come out for home video are not on Netflix. If you want to watch most of the big new releases that come out on home video, you got to get them through Fandango Now, or through the Google Play Store, or through Amazon Prime, or through iTunes, or something like that. You got to buy them, right? Or rent them online streaming. Well, if you go through a lot of movies, it's still the most economical option to make sure you're getting all the new home video releases, and you can watch 20 a month if you can watch them that fast, and you don't have to pay $5 per rental. I mean, look, I'm not trying to talk you into signing up for Netflix's DVD service, not at all. I don't subscribe to it anymore either. But when you really sit back and think about it, it's not all that crazy that there's still 3 million people out there that still use the service. Because if you use it and you go through those movies, it is still the most economical and pretty damn convenient way to do it. Plus, with the discs and everything, you get bonus features and all that kind of crap. So, hey, look, I'm not about to sign back up for it, but there are legitimate reasons, there are legitimate arguments to be made that the home DVD mail service thing that Netflix still offers is still a value for a number of people depending on your viewing habits, right? So, I was shocked when I saw it, but then the more I thought about it, it's like, I guess I really shouldn't be all that surprised for it. It kind of makes sense. I'm just curious, do any of you guys, Are any of you amongst those 3 million proud that still use the DVD mail service? If so, please jump into the comments section. I'd love to hear your story about that you still use it and why you still use it. I would love to hear that. All right. With that out of the way, guys, let's go on to our main topics of the day. How do we pick our main topics? It's simple. You guys pick them by emailing them to me anytime to john@thejohncampeashow.com. Once again, if you have a question or topic for the show, just email me anytime at john@thejohncampeashow.com. Make sure you put the word topic in the subject line. And as always, guys, keep those emails to 90 words or less, or else I wouldn't even be able to fit it on the screen even if I wanted to. All right, let's go on now with the first official topic today. And the first official topic today comes to us from one of our Patreon supporters, Dan Ketchum, who writes, and first of all, Dan, thanks so much for being a Patreon supporter. I know you hated the jobber thing they did with Superman and Supergirl. I did too. But I think the actor Tyler, I never pronounce his name right, Hoechlin, is actually pretty good in the role. They are now saying he is going to be in all 3 episodes of the crossover. Could this mean that in addition to or instead of the Batwoman series, they are also testing the waters for a Superman series? Hopefully done a bit better. All right, thanks a lot for the question, Dan. Now, for those of you who aren't really quite clear on what Dan's asking, so in the CW universe, there is a Superman. Nothing like the Superman I know and love because he loses to everybody. Anyway, so they've got a Superman in their universe. They announced a short time ago that Superman and a Lois Lane, which we have not seen in a CW yet. We've not met Lois Lane in the CW universe yet. But Superman and Lois Lane are going to be in this year's Arrow Flash crossover event. That will not have Legends of Tomorrow, but it will have Supergirl. So he's going to be in it. Now there's word coming out that he's probably going to be in all 3 of the crossover episodes. Interesting. So the question becomes kind of a natural one. We already know that Batwoman's going to be in it, and they're using that as a testing ground to see if they want to go ahead and greenlight a Batwoman TV show. So we know that already. So it's only logical then to ask, well, if Superman is going to be in all 3 episodes, could this be CW and the Arrowverse testing it out to see if they can actually do a full-blown Superman show, standing on his own? And I think it really all depends. It depends on a couple things. Number one, here's the thing. If they do a Superman show, my guess is, and it's only a guess, you ain't ever going to see Man of Steel 2. If they do a Superman show, I think that's kind of a flag going up in the air that Warner Brothers and Warner Brothers has given up on Superman on the big screen. I'm not saying he wouldn't appear in other movies, but I don't think we're going to get a Man of Steel 2 if they do a Superman TV show. Because traditionally, Warner Brothers has been very protective of 2 characters in particular, Superman and Batman. They don't usually let those guys go on TV. They started putting Superman on TV because they really needed to put over Supergirl. My big fear is that since Superman is the jobber of the week, he's going to show up in the Arrow Flash crossover just so he can lose a race to the Flash, lose an archery contest to Arrow, lose another fight to Supergirl, and they're just going to have him there to put everybody else over. To say, look how great all these other characters are. They beat Superman. Well, I mean, that seems to be the cool thing to do with the CW these days, and why I'm so pissed off at them for doing that. Anyway, hey, look, honestly, I think it's possible. I do think it is possible. Look, it's hard to imagine that you have a character like Superman, and Warner Brothers is letting you use him in the shows. It's hard to imagine there haven't at least been conversations around the executive halls of the CW about getting a standalone Superman show. It's hard to imagine there hasn't at least been that conversation. And the very fact that they're now pulling him out of the shadows a bit and they're going to use him in all 3 of these crossover episodes could point towards maybe them doing a Superman show. Of course, here's my big fear. My big fear is that they're going to use Superman as the antagonist of the series and do just like they did in the Supergirl show where he gets mind controlled or something. And now Supergirl and Flash and Arrow all have to come together and they're all going to beat up on Superman. I'm not saying that's what they're going to do. I'm not saying I've heard that they're doing that. I'm just saying that's my big fear. That's my anxiety, is that they're going to do that with Superman. But as far as, is it possible they could be using this crossover event to test the waters to maybe launch a Superman series in CW? Yeah, man, I think it's absolutely possible. What do you guys think? Jump down to the comments section below and leave me your thoughts. All right, let's move on to main topic number 2. And the second main topic today comes to us from Roger McGill, who writes, they've announced that the upcoming Big Trouble in Little China revisit won't be a remake, but actually a continuation of the original film. So I'm guessing it's just like Jumanji, not a reboot, but in the same universe and world as the original that will have a shared history. What do you think of this, and can it still work? All right, thanks a lot for the question, man. So all the way back in 2015, 3 years ago, I believe it was in June of 2015, the news broke. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is going to be starring as Jack Burton in a reboot of Big Trouble in Little China. And I remember the reports in like Deadline, the Rap Hollywood Reporter, basically saying that, hey, Big Trouble in Little China is one of The Rock's favorite movies. He's always wanted to play Jack Burton, and so they're going to be doing this thing, right? Well, 3 years have passed. 3 years have passed. But now, one of the head producers of the new film is coming out and saying that, hey, actually, this Big Trouble in Little China won't be a reboot. Here's the specific comment that the producer made. He wrote this: there's a lot of things going on with Big Trouble in Little China. We are in the process of developing that, and let me tell you, the idea is not to actually remake Big Trouble in Little China. You can't remake a classic like that. So what we've planning on doing is we're going to continue the story. We're going to continue the universe of Big Trouble in Little China. Everything that happened in the original exists and is standalone, and I think there's only one person that could ever play Jack Burton, so Dwayne would never try to play that character. Really? Dwayne would never try to play that character? Just a couple of years ago, the whole thing was Big Trouble's one of Dwayne's favorite movies. He's always wanted to play Jack Burton, and then we're going to remake it. And now you're saying, oh no, Dwayne would never want to try to play that role. That's iconic. You can't have somebody else play that role. You know, only one guy can play that role. It can't be anybody else. Dwayne would never do it. You know, the internet still has all the stuff that you said before. So anyway, whatever. Can Big Trouble in Little China still work as a continuation? Well, listen, there was no guarantee a Big Trouble in Little China was going to work in the first place. As much as it's a cult classic, we've often seen that cult classics can't be revisited with any success. There are some exceptions where it has worked, but there have been many exceptions. There have been many examples where it hasn't worked. Fact of the matter is this: when Big Trouble in Little China made its theatrical debut, it only made $11 million at the box office. It was a flop. Now, in that time since, it's gained a bit of a cult following. Absolutely, it has. Is the idea of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in a Big Trouble movie appealing? Damn right it is. But at the same time, we've seen many examples when that sort of thing has not worked out. So when asking, can it still work? I mean, it kind of begs the question, could it have ever worked in the first? I mean, was it even going to work as a reboot? I honestly don't know. Honestly don't know. But if we look at the example you brought up, Jumanji, right? Jumanji, they decided to do a continuation of that world. I mean, look, the new Jumanji movie with Dwayne Johnson and Kevin Hart and, why am I forgetting Jack Black? Jack Black. Why am I forgetting Jack Black's name? Oh yeah, his name's Jack Black. Idiot moment of the day. Anyway, I can't remember. What's that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's guy's name? I can't remember his name. Oh yeah, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Anyway. If you look at that Jumanji movie, it was truly a standalone film, but it inhabited the same universe as the original Jumanji. You never had to watch 1 minute of the original Jumanji to watch the new Jumanji, right? And since that worked, could something like that work for Big Trouble in Little China? Well, yeah, it totally could. It absolutely could. Look, I will admit, I was a little bit excited to see Dwayne Johnson play Jack Burton. You know, I was pretty excited to see that. Yes, Kurt Russell will always be Jack Burton, but it was going to be cool to see Dwayne Johnson take a shot at the character. I thought that would have been fun. Now he's got to play somebody completely different. And I'll say this too. I'm not even 100% sure this movie's actually going to happen. Now, the producers are talking a big game, but they always do. That's their job. That's what they always do. But it's been 3 years since they announced this movie. And we still don't have one lick of information on it, other than now a producer saying that it's not going to be a reboot. So I'm not even 100% sure this, it probably happened, but I'm not 100% sure it's even going to happen. Can it still work? It can. But it's not a guarantee, and it never was to begin with. So let's keep our eyes on seeing it goes. Let me ask you guys, do you think this is the right move? Do you think the smarter thing would have been to reboot Big Trouble? Or do you think the smarter thing is to do a continuation? Because I'll be honest with you, when you're rebooting it, that means you don't have to have seen the original. And let's face it, there's a lot of people out there who have never seen the original. But then again, you could probably make that same argument about Jumanji, and the new Jumanji almost made $1 billion. So I think it's a tough one. What do you think? Do you think the smarter thing would have been to do a reboot, or do you think the smarter thing actually is to just do a continuation? I want to know what you guys think. Jump down to the comment section below and let me know your thoughts. All right, let's move on to the third main topic today. And the third main topic today comes to us from Alex Pitt, who writes, with the summer movie season coming to a close in the next week or so, I was wondering what your top movies of the summer have been. For me, it's Incredibles 2 and Mission Impossible Fallout. What say you, John? And yeah, it feels just like yesterday. We were talking on the show about how the summer movie season's here. And now we're talking, it's gone. The summer movie season is now over. At least it will be in the next few days. The summer movie season is now coming to a close. Look, the summer movie season of 2018 has been great. There have been some wonderful movies this summer. And it's just funny. It's one of those summers that maybe you don't think so off the top of your head, but then you sit down and you start going over the list of the movies you saw this summer and you're realizing, holy crap, this was a pretty damn good summer for movies. So I'm going to tell you my top 5 movies of the summer. Now, I'm sure my list is going to look different than yours. All film is subjective. But I'm going to tell you my top 5. Before I give you the top 5, here's a couple of honorable mentions. All right, just 2 honorable mentions. One honorable mention for me will be Solo, a Star Wars story. I thought that was a very fun movie. I thought it was a really good movie. Doesn't crack my top 5, but I thought it was really enjoyable. I had a lot of fun with it. The second one is a movie I was late to the party on, but Upgrade. Upgrade was a great, low-budget, gritty, intense, high-action, lots of fun kind of movie. If you haven't seen Upgrade yet, make sure you get that on your list of to watch, okay? Because it was a good one. So with that out of the way, let's now go into, here are my top 5 films of the summer of 2008. Now, despite the fact that Ray put Thanos here on the thumbnail, remember, Avengers Infinity War is not a summer movie. It opened in April. So technically speaking, Avengers Infinity War is not a summer of 2018 movie. It opened in April, so it does not qualify. So with that said, here are my top 5 summer movies of 2018. Number 1 is BlacKkKlansman. I love this movie. It's smart, it's poignant, it makes you think, it makes you feel, it makes you laugh at the same time while you're doing it. It's an amazing ride of a movie. I love BlacKkKlansman. It's my number 1 movie of the summer. My number 2 movie of the summer is, number 2 and number 3 were very close, but I'm going to give the nod to Deadpool 2, a really worthy follow-up to the first Deadpool movie. Absolutely love Deadpool 2. Coming in number 3, much better than I thought it would be, Incredibles 2. Like, everybody was a little bit worried, is Incredibles 2 going to live up to the hype? It lived up to the hype and more. Love that movie. Number 4, one of the best horror, thriller, psychological screw with your brain movies I've seen in a long time, Hereditary. So good. Everybody, the car scene. That's all I'm going to say. For those of you who've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. The car scene. And coming in at number 5, one of the best installments of the Mission Impossible series, Mission Impossible Fallout, starring Tom Cruise. That comes in number 5. Just a wonderful, Tom Cruise still has it, man. Tom Cruise still has it. He's still bringing it. And again, there were some people that were a little bit nervous about it. Some people were mad at the film because they made Henry Cavill have a mustache in it. But yeah, man, I just love that movie. It's great. So once again, my top 5 are number 1, BlacKkKlansman, number 2, Deadpool 2, number 3, Incredibles 2, number 4, Hereditary, and number 5, Mission Impossible Fallout, with some honorable mentions going to Upgrade and Solo, a Star Wars story. And there are other movies out there as well, like Jurassic World, Fallen Kingdoms, and a whole bunch of other ones. That leads us to today's question of the day. And today's question of the day is really rather simple. What do you think was the best movie of the summer of 2018. Here's what you do. In the description of this video, go to the very bottom of the description and you'll find a link to today's question of the day. And I've given you guys 10 options. I've given you guys Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, Hereditary, Ant-Man 2, Upgrade, Solo, Mission Impossible Fallout, Incredibles 2, BlacKkKlansman, Deadpool 2, and other. I put in an other just in case there's a movie there that you thought was the best of the summer that you hadn't seen yet. Those are your options. Go on over there, click on that, tell me what you think are the best movies of the summer. And I'm looking over right now and they've all got votes. All of them have votes right now. We've got 143 of you have voted so far. They've all got votes. Right now, it looks like Deadpool 2 is in the lead. Deadpool 2, Incredibles 2, and Mission Impossible Fallout seem to be the three films in the lead. BlacKkKlansman is right up there as well. Solo's got votes. Upgrade has votes. Ant-Man 2 has votes. Hereditary has votes. Jurassic World. It's a wide open field, guys. So, once again, jump into the description of this video. Go to the bottom of the description. Click on that link. Cast your vote, and we will look at the results of this poll. You got 24 hours to vote now. We will look at the results of this poll on tomorrow morning's John Campea show. So go on in there and let your voice be heard. All right. With that out of the way now, let's move on to main topic number 4. And the fourth main topic today comes to us all the way from our friend Isaac Abbas, who writes, a story came out today, this email came in yesterday, that said Alec Baldwin is going to be in the new Joker movie with Joaquin Phoenix and that he's going to play Thomas Wayne. So, does this mean that there will absolutely not be any Batman in the movie since Thomas Wayne dies when Bruce was still very young and long before he becomes Batman? All right, thanks a lot for the question, Isaac. And yeah, that was some interesting news that came out. Number one, they mentioned that Alec Baldwin was going to be in the new Batman movie, or the new Joker movie, I should say. That on its own is interesting. The real interesting part of that news, though, that came out yesterday was who he was going to be playing. The fact that he is playing Thomas Wayne tells us a lot about this movie. First of all, let's look at the question about Batman. One of the things a lot of people have been asking about ever since they announced this Joker movie was, hey, is this movie going to have a Batman in it? Like maybe yes, maybe no. I think there were a lot of us, you guys, myself, I think there were a lot of us that thought, it's probably not going to have a Batman. I mean, it sounds like this is going to be a Joker standalone movie. And if you're doing that, maybe you don't have a Batman. Now, in a lot of iterations of the Joker's origins, Batman is a part of Joker's origin. In some iterations of Joker's origin, Batman's not really a part of it. But for the most part, we understand the Joker origin to be connected to Batman. But this is an Elseworlds kind of movie. So we always knew there was a good chance there wouldn't be a Batman. I'm going to go out on a limb and say this. I think the fact that we have anybody playing Thomas Wayne, in this case, it's Alec Baldwin, I think that makes a pretty strong statement that we're not going to have Batman in this movie. Look, being an Elseworlds kind of movie, what they are free to do is to break all the rules of traditional Batman lore. They can break all the rules. So theoretically speaking, they could break the rule that, hey, Batman's origins is about as a young child watching his parents gunned down in an alley. They could change that. They could totally change that, right? So we could see, I mean, maybe we got Alec Baldwin, but maybe he's got a 25-year-old son, Bruce Wayne, who's actually Batman, and they break that. But here's the thing, I don't think that's one they're going to break. My suspicion here is that, number one, we are not going to have any kind of a Batman in there. Now, some people are speculating, what if they did like a Flashpoint sort of thing where Thomas Wayne, not Bruce Wayne, but Thomas Wayne is the original Batman? What if they did something like that? It's possible, but I think unlikely. What I think is going to happen here, and again, I'm just speculating, I'm not pretending to have any insider information here, but my speculation here is, I think it is most likely that they are really just going to focus on the Joker character. They're not going to have Batman per se. I do believe we're going to see a young Bruce Wayne. The question is, are we going to see Martha? Why'd you say that name? We are going to see Martha. And Thomas, obviously. And no, here's a real wild theory. Here's a wild theory that somebody threw at me. They said, what if Thomas Wayne actually ends up being the father of the Joker? Like he had an affair, because Thomas Wayne, maybe he was a playboy too, and he had an affair and with somebody that ended up being the Joker, and he just kind of rejected that family. He just kind of rejected them growing up. That is something, that's a story hook from the Kevin Costner Robin Hood movie, remember? When Kevin Costner found out that Will Scarlet, played by Christian Slater, was actually his half-brother because his dad had had an affair. And so Will Scarlet grew up hating Robin Hood and his father. He grew up hating the Locksleys because Locksley was actually his dad and he rejected him. So what if they do the same kind of thing there? I got to tell you, that's intriguing. I don't know that that's what they're going to do. I don't necessarily think that's what they're going to do, but it is intriguing. It is an intriguing option, so we'll have to see. But bottom line is this. I don't think we're going to have any Batman. I don't think we're going to see Alec Baldwin as a Thomas Wayne Batman either. I don't think they're going to do a Flashpoint thing. I think they're just going to alter the story enough to truly keep this a focused Joaquin Phoenix Joker standalone film with some allusions to the Batman and what may come later. And who knows, this movie, instead of like most Batman movies that begin with, you know, Thomas and Martha Wayne, why do you say that name? Thomas and Martha Wayne being shot down in an alley. Maybe this is a movie that ends with, like the Jack Nicholson Joker, maybe this is a movie that ends with the Joker gunning down Thomas Wayne and his wife. I won't say that name. Thomas Wayne and his wife in a dark alley, leaving a young Bruce Wayne looking there, screaming and breaking and all that kind of stuff. And maybe that's how it ends. See, traditionally, that's how these Batman movies begin. What if that's how this one ends? That's kind of an interesting twist. Look, there's a lot of possibilities here. We're just going to have to wait and see. What do you guys think? Do you guys think we're going to have a Batman in this movie? I think all the evidence is pointing to no, but maybe you guys think we will. Jump down to the comments section and let me know your thoughts. All right. With that, we move on to the final emailed in question today. And the final emailed in question today comes to us from Alexis Peterson, who writes, just saw that Aquaman had its first screenings. Some people said good, others said meh. DC really needs to hit a home run, or they might start thinking about rebooting. Your thoughts? Thanks. All right, thanks a lot for the question, man. And yeah, so there, you guys might have seen there's some reports going around that DC has had, Warner Brothers DC has done their first test screenings of Aquaman. Two mixed results. Some people, the reports say, some people are saying it's good. Some people are saying it's good, not great. Some people are saying meh, but whatever, generally positive. Here's what I think. Don't believe any of it. Don't believe any of it. You ever notice it's only out of these Warner Brothers and DC movies that we hear test screening reports? Look, here's the reality. Look, number one, let me say this off top. Is it possible that all this is true? Yep, it's possible. It is possible. However, I completely discount any of these reports that claim, number one, that there was a test screening, and number two, we know what the reactions were. Look, when they do these test screenings, people sign NDAs. All right? They sign NDAs. They don't just like anybody in, see the movie and go, don't talk about it, everybody. No, they sign NDAs. Non-disclosure agreements. You can get a lot of legal trouble. For what? So I can be the one to say, I thought the movie was okay? Now, and also, remember when the thing said Justice League has screened to, or what was it, Batman versus Superman has screened for a test audience to standing ovations. Yeah, look how that turned out. But then there was the opposite reports. Justice League is screened and is being destroyed as completely unwatchable. I didn't think that movie was unwatchable. I actually thought it was pretty good. So look, I've been telling you guys forever, these are non-stories. Because number one, it's highly, I'm not saying that the people who are reporting that they're hearing these things are lying. I'm just thinking they're being lied to. All right? Like if there's anybody, like I saw some from a couple websites saying, hey, I've heard this. I'm not disputing that they've heard that. I think they're telling the truth. I just think they're being misled. Because if these test audiences who sign these NDAs, man, they are the loosest lipped group of people in the world. I just don't believe it. I didn't believe it when they said Batman versus Superman is getting standing ovations. I didn't believe it when they said Justice League is like garbage and completely unwatchable. I don't believe it when they're saying Aquaman is good, not great. I don't believe any of it. Now, Aquaman may end up being good, not great. Aquaman may end up being terrible. Aquaman may end up being fantastic. I'm very excited about it. I think it looks really good. Pardon me, you got Jason Momoa playing the Aquaman character. I think he's great in the role. You got James Wan directing the film. I think he's great. I thought the trailer was spectacular. I got high hopes, but I'm not going to believe any of these things about test audience saw it and they said this. Oh, you mean the same test audience who all sign NDAs? Really? These same test audiences from the same studio that turned out to be BS every time we've heard test audience reports? Look, even if there is a possibility this is true, and I believe there is a possibility it's true, it's possible, but even then it is not worth paying any attention to. So please do not be one of these people that start spreading around, oh, I'm hearing Aquaman isn't all that great. Don't be one of those people. Where'd you hear that from? Well, test audiences. Yeah, BS. BS. Maybe the movie will be awesome. Maybe the movie will suck. Maybe it'll be somewhere in between. Whatever it is, don't listen to these test audience reports. It's been proved over and over and over and over again. They're completely unreliable. And on top of that, I even doubt they're true in the first place because these are audience of people who have to sign legal agreements that they're not going to talk about it when they come out of the theater. Possible it's true. Possible. But highly unlikely, and therefore just don't pay any attention to it. Let's just wait for the movie. Let's talk about how excited or not excited we are about it, but then let's not talk about whether the movie's any good or not until people actually see it. How about that? That's just a thought of mine, little pet peeve of mine, but there you go. But I don't know, maybe you guys have your own thoughts about that. Jump down to the comments section and let me know what you're thinking. Okay, guys, with all the official topics now out of the way for the day, let's take some time and go over and visit the live chat board. A whole bunch of you guys have been firing in some live questions, so let's get to those right now. And here, we're going to start off today's live stuff with Ben, who writes, I rewatched the Ed Norton Hulk. I'm in that movie. Such a different tone compared to the other MCU films. It's more intense. And same as you, I want Abomination again, too. Yeah, Abomination. I would love for the MCU to bring Abomination back. He's one of the few villains in one of their movies that they did not kill off. He's on the raft. He's there. They've acknowledged it in some of their MCU shorts before that the Abomination is still around. Blomsky, I think, is the guy's name. He's still around. I think he's a great potential villain to use again. And I like that Ed Norton Hulk. I do. I think it's a pretty damn good movie. Ben Yusuf follows up with, another good soundtrack besides Man of Steel I can think of is the Magneto score from First Class. That theme screams Magneto and it's badass. That rhymes too. I honestly don't remember it. I don't remember it. I do remember that the absolute best parts of First Class was everything revolving around Magneto and Charles. Everything surrounding, Michael and James was great. Everything that revolved around then. The weaker parts of the films when the cameras were focused on the kids, those are the parts of the movie that didn't work as well for me. But everything about Magneto and Charles completely crushed it for me. So, but I don't remember the score. I don't remember the music that played with it. So I'll have to check that out again sometime. Ben follows it up with, also I'm impressed with the cast of the Joker film. Yeah, you're talking about Zazie Beetz. You're talking about... Mark Maron, one of the world's most popular podcasters, but also he's amazing in Glow. Mark Maron's in it. You got Robert De Niro's in it, and obviously Joaquin Phoenix, and now Alec Baldwin. I mean, the cast is looking amazing. Again, it doesn't mean the movie's going to be good, but it's a good way to start for sure. Der Wunderbar writes, forget it, Jake, it's Chinatown. I'm assuming that's a line from Big Trouble in Little China. I'll be honest, man. It's been about 9 years since I've seen Big Trouble in Little China. So if that is from Big Trouble in Little China, I don't remember the quote. Vrinder Singh writes, my birthday is December 21st, and I always go to watch a movie. Usually I flip a coin to decide which one to watch, but this time I'm going to have to roll an 8-sided dice. I mean, seriously, look, December 21st, you're going to have either opening that day or opening within a couple of days. You got Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. You got Peter Jackson's Mortal Engines. You've got Mary Poppins. You've got Holmes and Watson, which just dropped its first official images. So I expect a trailer to come out here pretty quick I wouldn't doubt it if later today or tomorrow our first Holmes and Watson trailer hits. You've got Bumblebee. You've got Aquaman. You've got Alita Battle Angel. I mean, yeah, you're going to have, sorry, Vrinder, you're just going to have to spend your whole, whatever party you had planned, cancel it. You're just going to have to spend your whole day at the movie theater to watch all these movies coming out. I'm still keeping my fingers crossed that they move Aquaman. I just think Aquaman can make much more money if they move off that date. Oh, man, I just hope they move it. Anyway, Adam Hamblett writes, Paddington 2 Rotten Tomatoes score is still 100% with over 200 reviews. Paddington 2 is a fantastic movie. And think about that. Think about that 100% score. That does not mean it's a perfect movie. No. But what it means is every single film critic, all these film critics who are so wildly divided on their opinions all the time, all of them agree Paddington 2 is a good movie. Some of them might think it's spectacular, some of them might think it's good, but all of them agree. All these film critics who are never agree, who are always so wildly diversified on their opinions. Like that's why you see so many, 60%, 50%, 40%. Like they're always so radically divided. And yet you come to a movie like Paddington 2 and all of them agree. Oh yeah, that one? Yeah, we all agree. That one's good. You got to see that one. Paddington 2 is, in my opinion, is absolutely fantastic. It's heartwarming. It makes you feel. Remember, my big thing is movies are supposed to be experiential events. Whether it makes your experience is fear or thought, contemplation, tension, happiness, joy, love, laughter, excitement, whatever it is. Movies are meant to be experiential events. Paddington is an experiential event, man. You'll walk out with a smile on your face and your heart full. Seriously, if they do make a Paddington 3, and I'm not sure they will, because Paddington 2 didn't exactly blow up the box office. But if they make a Paddington 3, I'm going to tell you this right now, and I say this unapologetically. If they make a Paddington 3, and it is even close to the quality of Paddington 1 and Paddington 2, Paddington has to become a part of the conversation of the top 5 best trilogies of all time. You may think that sounds like hyperbole, but I say that unapologetically. If they make a Paddington 3 and it's on par with Paddington 1 and Paddington 2, you have to put Paddington in that discussion to be amongst the greatest trilogies of all time. It's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. I mean, and if you haven't seen Paddington 1 or 2 because you think, oh, that looks like it's for kids. I get it. It does kind of look like it's just for kids. I get it. Trust me. Watch those movies. You'll fall in love. You absolutely will. Vrinder Singh writes, Hear me and rejoice. After careful deliberations with myself, I can safely say that Ebony Maw and Korg are my favorite MCU characters. I could watch a whole movie with just those two talking with each other. Oh my God. Okay, forget a movie, all right? Get Taika Waititi to direct. Because you know how Taika Waititi directed those Thor and Daryl as roommates short films that they put out on YouTube? Put out a 5-minute short film of Korg and Maw playing chess. Just 5 minutes of Korg and Maw playing chess and talking. That video will become the #1 video on YouTube for all time. I'm telling you. Now, they aren't necessarily my 2 favorite MCU characters, but they're both amazing. Another day, another Doug. Anyway, I love Korg, but the idea of hearing Korg and the way he speaks, playing chess in a conversation with Maw, and the way he speaks, and maybe you can still have Maw kind of with icicles on him because he's still thawing out, but that would be one of the best YouTube videos of all time. Please, Marvel, give Taika like a $500,000 budget and give him the green light to make that MCU short film. Just all it has to be is 5 minutes. All you need is a room with 2 chairs and a chess table. Yeah, you got to CG it, but it's just 5 minutes of CG. Just reuse old CG if you have to. That would become like one of the best YouTube videos of all time. I would watch the hell out of that. Great idea, Friender. Bruce Wayne writes, why did you say that name? Adamus95 writes, if you've seen Family Guy and Predator trailer, you'll get this. Get away from us, Predator. I'm going to hunt you guys. Oh my God, what was that? It's a bigger predator. Oh my God, now we have to work together. I gotta admit, Adamus, I do not know what you're talking about. The only Predator Family Guy thing I've seen was this little bit on a Family Guy thing where Joe, Quagmire, and Peter are in the woods. They're stranded in the woods, and they're building a shelter. And Peter goes, now we got to cover ourselves with mud so the Predator doesn't see us. And everybody's saying, Peter, that's just a movie. But then up in the tree, there's a Predator looking at them in infrared vision, and he sees Peter fart. That's the only Predator Family Guy thing I'm aware of. Do me a favor, guys. If you know what Adamus is referring to, jump into the comments section and leave me a link to what it is he's talking to, because it sounds like it would be cool to see. So let me know what it is. But off the top of my head, I don't know what it is what we're talking about. Adam Douglas writes, can you see Crazy Rich Asians being the next My Big Fat Greek Wedding? A lot of similarities in audience reaction and possible box office staying power. What's really interesting here, what Adam's referring to, is the film My Big Fat Greek Wedding. I believe that is the most successful film of all time that was never number one at the box office. I believe, if I'm remembering right, My Big Fat Greek Wedding was never number one, but it stayed in the top 5 for like 800 months. I mean, that's hyperbole, obviously, but it was like in the top 10 forever. It just stayed there. Just word of mouth got around about it. Now, I'll say that My Big Fat Greek Wedding is much better than Crazy Rich Asians. But I like Crazy Rich Asians. I think it's an entertaining movie. You know what else? Anne bought the audiobook for China Rich Girlfriend. That's the sequel to Crazy Rich Asians, the Crazy Rich Asians books. And so it's the sequel. It's called China Rich Girlfriend. And it's really good. I gotta say, I never read or listened to the first book, but listening to the second book, it's really good. So just a little recommendation there for everybody. Anyway, I like Crazy Rich Asians, but My Big Fat Greek Wedding was on another level. My Big Fat Greek Wedding was just insanely good. Now, the one thing going for it, let me just open up Box Office Mojo right now, quickly, and go to the release schedule. Because the one thing that's going for Crazy Rich Asians and some staying power is this. There's not a lot of opening against it. There really wasn't much opening this weekend. It stayed number one this past weekend. This coming weekend, this week we got Operation Finale, but that's not going to be a box office juggernaut. On Friday, we've got Kin opening. Nobody's talking about Kin. On Friday, September 7th, we've got The Nun and Peppermint, the Jennifer Garner one. And those will do some business, but neither of them will be box office like behemoths. Crazy Rich Asians won't be number one at the box office, but it'll still be hanging around that top 5. And it's not until we get to Friday the 14th that we've got The Predator opening up. So I would say right now, the one thing that they've really got going in their favor right now, I mean, but then after Predator, we've got like what? We got The House with the Clock in its Walls. That's not going to be huge. Life Itself isn't going to be huge. Little Women, Night School, Smallfoot, going all the way up to September 28th. None of those are going to be huge. Really, it's not until October 5th that we got A Star is Born and Venom opening up. So the one thing that Crazy Rich Asians really has going for it right now is it's got a soft schedule in front of it. It's possible, however unlikely, it is theoretically possible we could get to October and Crazy Rich Asians will still be in the top 5. I think it'll definitely still be in the top 10 by the time October rolls around. But I think there's a chance it could still be in the top 5 by the time October rolls around. Because again, it's got a very easy path in front of it right now. So we'll have to kind of wait and see. Will it have the same kind of staying power as Big Fat Greek Wedding? No, I don't think so. I wouldn't suspect that at all. But it's going to have serious staying power for sure. Advith Rad Ajurai writes, that's what she says. LOL. Michael Scott in The Office. You know, you'd think there are some examples of repetitive jokes that just die, right? It did not matter how many times the Michael Scott character pulled the "that's what she said" line. It worked every time. Every single time. Without fail. It always worked. I always loved hearing it when he would do it. Caleb Bradford writes, do you think the young Bruce Wayne will be a young Bruce Wayne will be in the Joker movie? I think so, yes. I think we're going to see a young Bruce Wayne. How young? Whether he be 5, 15, who knows? There's a lot of range there because Alec Baldwin's at that age that he could have a new kid, and he could also have a kid that's 20, right? So that gives him a lot of flexibility. I do believe we're going to see a young Bruce Wayne. Again, I don't think we're going to see that Bruce Wayne become Batman, but I do think we're going to see a young Bruce Wayne. How prevalent, how much he'll be in the movie, whether they'll actually end the movie with that infamous, the Waynes being shot down in the alley scene, and that's how they end the movie. I don't know any of that, but I do believe we're going to see him at least. Sebastian writes, will Disney pay video on demand impact moving going? You probably mean movie going. I hope not. No, I don't think so. No, I don't think anything about the Disney streaming service is going to have any impact at all on the movie-going experience or their movie plans. Like zero. Absolutely zero. Cobra writes, could it be going the Batman 1989 route? The Joker kills the Waynes. Oh, I absolutely, Cobra, believe that's a possibility. Like I was just mentioning that, I think there's even a chance that maybe this Joker movie ends, instead of beginning with the death of the Waynes, it ends with the death of the Waynes and the Joker being the one doing it. I totally believe that's a possibility. I don't know for sure that that's what happens, but you and I are on the same path on that one. I absolutely believe that is a solid possibility there. Because whatever changes you want to make to the Joker being in this Elsewhere movie, it would be cool to somehow tie the fates of the Joker and the Batman together. Whether it's tying it together by Batman throwing Joker into a vat of chemicals, or whether it's by Joker being the one who kills Batman's parents, a la Jack Nicholson, although he wasn't the Joker yet when he did that. I believe there's still value in tying their fates together, and I think that would be a perfect way to do it. So, definite? No, but possibility? Absolutely, it's a possibility, completely. Jonathan Early writes, I am curious to know what Anne Campea thinks of the DCEU so far. Anne is a little mixed on the DCEU. Like, honestly, I think her favorite DCEU movie so far was probably Suicide Squad. She loved Suicide Squad. She loved it. She liked it more than I did. She really liked Wonder Woman. She likes Man of Steel. Nowhere near as much as I do, but she likes Man of Steel. She was iffy on Batman vs. Superman, and she was iffy on Justice League. But yeah, so she's a little bit mixed. She's like most people, I think. Anne's like most people, that she's kind of mixed. But yeah, I think she likes Suicide Squad more than anybody. Like, she just got a huge kick out of that movie. Like, all the things that work in that movie really worked for her. And she just got a total hoot out of that movie. She loved it. She absolutely loved it. She thought it was crazy. But yeah, like most people, she's a little bit mixed. Sebastian writes, your favorite Stan Lee cameo? I vote Tony Stank. Oh, the Tony Stank one is good, but nothing will ever touch strip club DJ Stan Lee. You can't buy love, but you can rent it for $20 a song, or whatever the actual... Nothing will ever beat strip club DJ Stan Lee. If Sideshow Collectibles and Hot Toys made a strip club DJ Stan Lee, I would buy that crap like that. I would have that on my shelf right now. I would buy that. To me, nothing will ever beat that Stan Lee cameo. To me, that's just the king of all the cameos out of Deadpool. All right. Paul Diego writes, the other day you mentioned Rosamund Pike. Did you see the trailer for A Private War? Looks amazing. Keep up the good work. Yes, and she does look great. Look, I seriously, Rosamund Pike, I have no idea why she is not on Jennifer Lawrence level status. She's got the talent, but why doesn't she have the status of a Jennifer Lawrence or of a Margot Robbie? She's beautiful. She's incredibly talented. She always brings it. No matter if she's in a Johnny English movie or if she's in a Gone Girl movie, right? She brings it every single time. She was great in Hostel. She's great in everything. She always brings 110%. It is a mystery to me how this girl does not have A-list status. It's a total confounding mystery to me, and it always will be. Murray Reich writes, Jack Ryan series, Rotten Tomatoes Metacritic rating, not too great. For television stuff, I really don't pay attention to Rotten Tomatoes or Metacritic. when it comes to television stuff, no, I pay no attention to it whatsoever. Like, I've seen some TV shows that are questionable at best, have like 100%. So to me, it's a totally different group. It's a totally different thing than the movie rating stuff. So I haven't seen it. I honestly don't care about it that much. All I know is I'm looking forward to Jack Ryan. Rami J. Royster writes, love the Deadpool 2 soundtrack. Ashes is amazing. Oh my God. Like I was saying this the other day. Somebody brought that up, the song the other day. And I'd say about twice a month, because I told the story yesterday. In my bathroom, I have a Google Home in my bathroom. So I just say, hey, Google, play Black Panther soundtrack. Or say, hey, Google, play songs by U2. Or hey, Google, play Sabotage by Beastie Boys. Or something like that, right? At least twice a month, I get in the shower and go, hey, Google, play Ashes by Celine Dion. And I'm in the shower. Can beauty come out of ashes? Like, I'm in the shower doing that, right? I've just planted an image in your head that you will not be able to scrub out for the rest of the day. Anyway, I love that tune, man. I absolutely love that tune. Off the top of my head, I can't even remember, other than Take On Me, obviously. I can't remember a lot of the other songs off the soundtrack off the top of my head. But yeah, Ashes is just an awesome song. I love it. Miguel Alejandro writes, saw Rush starring Chris Hemsworth. What a great movie. I can't believe it went under my radar. Dude, Rush is a movie that went under a lot of people's radars. It went under a lot of people's radars. And not only did you have Chris Hemsworth, who was amazing, one of his best performances ever. You also had Daniel Bruhl, Zemo, from Captain America Civil War. You had Daniel Bruhl in there, who got an Academy Award nomination for that. And Ron Howard directing it. It's based on a true story. It's a great film. Absolutely marvelous movie. Why more people don't check it out, I have no idea. Well, I mean, I get it. It's a period piece set in the 60s or 70s or something like that. It doesn't look like a wide appeal movie. Okay, I get it. But listen, folks, you got to watch this movie. It's so good. And if you want to get a taste of how good of an actor Chris Hemsworth is, watch this movie, man. He's legit. Chris Hemsworth is legit. You know, when he got cast to play Thor, a lot of people just overlooked the fact that, oh, he's just a big, good-looking dude. No. He had been a main target of, like, A-list casting agents in Hollywood for years. It was just a matter of finding the right thing for him to break out in. Then he got his foot in the door with Star Trek. He landed the Thor role just over Tom. A lot of people forget Tom Hiddleston was in line to play Thor. And it came down between Tom Hiddleston and Chris Hemsworth to play Thor, and they gave it to Chris Hemsworth, but they liked Tom Hiddleston so much, they gave him the Loki role, and history was made. But at any rate, watch Rush. It's amazing, man. I'm glad you had a chance to watch it, Miguel. All right, Ali Hussein writes, oh, one of your videos, we talk about that Netflix order 10 episodes for season 4 of Lucifer. I think it's a great idea. That means they're going to use more budge and they'll previous seasons. That means they're going to use more budge and they'll previous seasons. I'm going to assume, Ali, that what you're saying is you think it means they're going to have a bigger budget than they used in previous seasons. I do not think that's the case at all. I really don't. I think one of the reasons they're doing 10 episodes is so they can limit the budget. Not to mention 10 episodes is in the ballpark of what Netflix series usually do anyway. But don't think for a second, oh, they're going to have double the budget per episode as they normally do because they're only doing half the episodes. I don't believe that for a second. I believe Netflix is going to be budget conscious. You're probably going to see this show have the exact same budget per episode as it used to. And look, this show was never a huge bank breaker, right? They use simple sets. They never have huge amounts of extras. They have like 5 or 6 go-to sets that they usually use. There's not a lot of visual effects work at all. It's not a super expensive show to make. But I really don't think, as much as I'd love to be excited about it, the reality is I don't think you're going to see each episode have any bigger of a budget than they used to. I just don't think that's what they're going to do. It would be great, though, if they did. Santez Hernandez writes, the best part about Alec Baldwin playing Thomas Wayne is that you know he'll tap into his best Jack Donaghy. He did that in Mission Impossible Fallout. Of course, that's his character from 30 Rock. You know, I've been reading, Santez, is that he's actually going to tap a little bit of Trump. like a little bit of his Trump imitation. That's what I've been reading, that his Thomas Wayne is going to be a little bit more flamboyant, which makes me think that maybe Thomas Wayne will have two sides to him, like Bruce Wayne and Batman do. That Thomas Wayne might have this public figure, oh yeah, blah, blah, and say like really ridiculous things, but behind closed doors, he's dead, like he's actually brilliant and he's a genius, blah, blah, blah. So whether he's tapping in to this TV persona he does, like his Trump persona, or whether he taps into his 30 Rock persona, whatever, it does look like he'll have a little bit of an option to do one of those things. I hope he taps a little bit into his shadow. Remember he played in The Shadow? I'd like to see a little bit of that as well. All right. Ali Hussein writes, that means we're going to see more Lucifer's powers. I hope so. Well, going back, no, I doubt it. Again, that's just going back to this assumption that if they're having less episodes, that means they're going to have more money per episode to spend. I don't believe that's Netflix's philosophy. I don't think Netflix is going to approach it like that. So no, I don't think so. I mean, it'd be great if we did, but I really don't think that's the way they're going. Mr. Hank Dunn writes, moving to LA soon. Man, I'm going to miss Timmy Ho's. That's Tim Hortons, for those of you who don't know. Best donuts and coffee in the world. I don't drink coffee, but everybody, like, whenever I go up to visit Canada, I have tons of my American friends. Can you, like they're crack addicts. Can you bring back some Tim Hortons coffee? Can you bring back some Tim Hortons coffee? Like, anybody who's ever tried it always wants Tim Hortons coffee brought down. Anyway, I'm not a coffee drinker. I'm going to miss my Timmy Ho's. Do you have a favorite comedian? Mine's Hannibal Buress. Oh, he's great. Who I'm seeing tonight, or Jim Jeffries. Honestly, I used to say Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby was honestly my all-time favorite comedian. Today being what it is, and the context today being what it is, I'd have to say my favorite stand-up comedian is probably Stephen Wright. If you never listen to Stephen Wright, he's a comedian who just does one line. Like his entire stand-up set is all one-liners. It's all one-line jokes. And sometimes it's a series of one-line jokes that loosely connect together in a story. But for the most part, his comedy is all one-line jokes. And they just make me howl. And by the way, he's also does a guest appearance in one of my favorite comedies, So I Married an Axe Murderer. But yeah, Stephen Wright is probably... given today's day and age, and the fact that, look, if you'd asked me 6 years ago, who's my favorite comedian of all time? Easy. Bill Cosby's my favorite comedian of all time. Well, and now the things we know today. But I'll go Stephen Wright. Let's see. Alex Bose writes, Could Baldwin be sometime or Batman Thomas, maybe some type of universe similar as Flashpoint? Okay, so basically you're asking the same thing I brought up earlier, which is, could it be possible? For those of you who don't know, in the Flashpoint storyline, where history gets moved around, in that alley where Thomas and Martha Wayne die, in this alternate universe, the kid, Bruce Wayne, gets shot and dies. And that breaks Thomas Wayne, and Thomas Wayne becomes Batman. So, the question that Alex and a bunch of people have been asking and bringing him up, totally legitimately, is, hey, could this be kind of an alternate universe thing where we see Thomas Wayne as Batman? I really don't think we're going to see Alec Baldwin as Batman. I really don't. Again, I'll go back to my initial premise. Like, what you're bringing up is totally a possibility. Sure, it's a possibility. But I really think we're not going to see a Batman in this movie. And I certainly don't think Alec Baldwin is going to be a Batman. So I'm still going to go with my initial assessment here that I don't think we're going to see Batman at all in. But it's totally possible. I mean, like what you're suggesting is a possibility. I just think it's highly unlikely. Ali Hussein follows up with, I would love to see how they handle Michael on Lucifer's TV show. We have seen how they handle Michael on Supernatural, which is awesome. Yeah, I mean, Michael... The Archangel Michael is definitely a character I think they've still got in their back pocket. The Archangel Michael, I mean, we've seen them use several different popular angel figures in the show, but the one they've never really touched on is Michael. And Michael has been and is now, especially going into this new season of Supernatural, going to be a main player in Supernatural. He's a real dick in Supernatural. Michael is a bad guy. Even though he's an archangel, he's clearly villainous. He's a bad dude in Supernatural. How they could play something like that in Lucifer, I'm not sure. But clearly they've been keeping the character in their pocket. So I've got a feeling at some point they'll choose to use the Michael character. Really Tired 64 writes, is it possible that the way the dead are brought back in Avengers 4 could be so far off base that fans could turn on Marvel the way Star Wars fans did? Oh, it's possible. Yeah, it's possible. It could be that, look, because, I was having a discussion with a buddy of mine and going over all these different ways and possibilities that they could resolve the whole Avengers thing. And that's a new reality is born. It's like, hey, guess what? This reality all ends. It could be that not only is half the universe killed, but then maybe the option that they have is that they have to end the rest of reality and reality gets restarted and reborn. And then we got an entirely new universe that is very similar to the old universe. And we have Spider-Man, but really that Avengers ends with everybody dies. Everybody dies and is gone, and they're all dead and gone, and then a new reality gets begun. So the old reality is all extinct now, and everybody's dead, and now they start a new reality. And that's how everything progresses forward. And I was having this discussion with a couple of friends of mine, and that very thing kind of came up, is that would be ballsy. I mean, look, if they did something like that, a couple things to keep in mind. Number one, it would mean that when Kevin Feige and the Russos are saying, moving forward now, when we kill somebody, they stay dead, it would mean they were telling the truth. Because right now, we're kind of guffawing at that. Because, well, obviously, they killed Spider-Man, but he's not going to stay dead. Because we got Spider-Man Far From Home coming, right? If they did a thing where they say all the universe gets wiped out, that the Avengers get their hands on they take down Thanos, they get the gauntlet from it, and they utilize the gauntlet, Doctor Strange, and then utilize the gauntlet to basically wipe out the rest of the universe and to restart a different reality. We talked about how there are some advantage to that, like it means they didn't do a fake deaths again, that they actually really meant what they said. When they kill people, they keep them dead and all that kind of stuff. It gives them the opportunity to bring back characters that they want, like Odin and all that kind of things. You could bring them back in a legitimate way. But the issue came up, would that piss off a lot of fans? Would that be seen as a cop-out? Honestly, I don't see how there's anything they can do that's not going to feel like a cop-out. No matter what they do, it's a cop-out. Like, you killed half the characters in the universe. Don't worry, they're all coming back. Cop-out. It's all a cop-out, no matter what they do. But is it possible that they could come up with a way to do it that just does not resonate with the fans? Yeah. Yeah, that's possible. Whether it's by wiping out the rest of reality or Tony wakes up from a nap and he's laying beside Pepper. He goes, oh my God, Pepper, I had the most terrible dream that this giant purple alien came to Earth with a gauntlet and wiped out half humanity. Oh, I'm so glad it was just a dream. Like if they pulled something like that, yep, that would turn a lot of people off. Look, Kevin Feige has demonstrated over 10 years and 20 movies. He knows how to navigate this universe. So I don't suspect that's going to happen, but is it possible? Yeah, you're damn right, it's possible. Certainly it's possible. Unlikely, but possible. All right, Boogie writes, we assume everyone has internet, and that's why the DVD numbers for Netflix sound crazy. Well, remember, you have to have internet in order to even use the DVD service for Netflix, right? Even to be a DVD subscriber, you have to have internet because you have to have your queue lined up. It's not mail order, like it's on the queue. You have to use the internet. So even then, Jay, you have to have internet service even to use the DVD service. So every single person who signed up for the DVD service, they have internet. Because that's the only way you manage your subscriptions. It's the only way you manage your queue. It's the only way you set up what movies get sent to you next once you set the new ones in. It's all done online, right? So even those people have internet. Sebastian writes, thoughts, advice on movies this weekend? Peppermint? Well, I don't think anything's opening this coming weekend. This weekend is, if I'm not mistaken, this weekend is Operation Finale. You got two options. You got Operation Finale, which opens on Wednesday, and then you got Kin that opens on Friday. Kin does not look any good. The studio hasn't even bothered, Lionsgate hasn't even bothered marketing it. Like, I think even they feel the movie sucks. So, Operation Finale, though, with Ben Kingsley and Oscar Isaac, that looks pretty good. That's probably the one to see this weekend. It's next weekend that we got two interesting ones. You got The Nun, which I'm really interested in see. And then you got the new Jennifer Garner movie, Peppermint, which I am dying to see. But again, that's not till next weekend. Let's see. Grandmaster writes, your favorite song from Mary Poppins, Spoonful of Sugar. Just a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down. I don't know why. That one just works with me. Everybody loves Supercalifragilistic for sure. But for me, it's a Spoonful of Sugar is my all-time favorite Mary Poppins song. Israel Freeman disappeared. Where'd he go? Israel Freeman writes, best man versus kid movie. Best man versus Kindergarten Cop or Daddy Daycare. I'll go Kindergarten Cop. Honestly, I don't love either of them, clearly, but I will give Israel the slight nod to that one. I'll give the slight edge to Kindergarten Cop. Robert Johnson writes, Far From Home trailer should start where Homecoming ended, with Aunt May. Then it might seem like the whole movie could take place in the past. I don't know. I don't think they're going to try to do that. They've already played that. Marvel has already played this happens before the events of Avengers Infinity War. They already played that card with Ant-Man and the Wasp. You can't play it again. And they've clearly said already before that this is a movie that happens after the events of Infinity War. So, I don't think they're going to... I think they're just going to market it as marketing it. And even though that'll raise some questions with the audience, you don't need to answer those questions. All you need to do is to get people talking. Remember, marketing is not there to answer questions. Marketing there is to generate buzz. Marketing is there is to generate interest and to get people talking and to raise awareness of the film. That's the purpose of marketing. So you put out your trailer like you would any other trailer, just market it. And if people are going, wait a minute, I thought he died. Great. Get people talking. Get people speculating. Either way, the whole point is to market the film. Not for it to make sense, not for it to answer questions, not for it to not confuse people. It's to raise awareness, get people talking, and get people buzzing. That's all you got to worry about. So I don't think they need to worry about it one bit. I think you just move ahead and you market this thing like you would any other movie. You put in some of the big highlights of the movie, and if that gets people talking, great. And it will get people talking. Make no mistake, it'll get people talking. So I don't think you have to do this whole thing of pretending like it takes place in between. Why bother doing that? Now you're just straight up misleading your audience, right? And it's already a card that you played already with Ant-Man and the Wasp. You'd want to look like you're doing it again. So I don't know. I would say just market the damn thing, right? And get all of us talking like that. All right, thanks for the question, Robert. Next one comes to us from Carnell B, who writes, Big Trouble in Little China. I'm in either way. It was the first time I saw Asian characters not playing stereotypical characterizations. Actually, that's a good observation, Carnell. That's true. Not playing stereotypical characterizations. It's what I love most. It changed how I felt Asian characters could be realized on screen. Jack's great, but I love Wang, Egg Shen, even Eddie. You know what? That is not something I got to admit, not being somebody of Asian descent, but I am married to one, so maybe I should think about these things. It's not something I ever really considered, and that's a really valid point. Look, the fun thing is that as a movie, Big Trouble in Little China, it is one of these very, very rare movies that for many different reasons, like I don't think there's any one little specific reason that led to a movie that flopped at the box office and was not received well critically, understandably so, why it maintained a life and why it maintained a popularity and why it maintained a following that rooted and grew over time to the point that today, you mentioned Big Trouble in Little China, maybe not everybody's seen it, but everybody's heard of it. Everybody's heard of it. And I don't think there's one specific reason why that's the case, but probably a multiple different reasons. And I think, Carnell, you're bringing up something that is something I had never considered that might very well possibly be one of the key reasons. And I think I'm exposing myself as being part of the problem that I'd never even realized that, or I never really recognized it as such until you brought it up and pointed that out. I think you're absolutely right. I really do. And now I'm going to go back and watch the movie again and look at it in that right. But you're right. Because you had the big evil, yeah. But you also had a hero running alongside Jack, right? as the big, real, capable hero doing that stuff. And that's not something you often saw. That's not something that you often saw at the time or even that much today. Mostly it's fitting into stereotypes. Now, you can also legitimately say that Big Trouble in Little China took advantage of a lot of stereotypes. Sure, they did. They absolutely did. There's no doubting that. But they also went beyond the stereotypes, which is not something you saw a lot of then, nor is it something you saw a lot of since. And I think you raise an incredibly valid point, Carnell, and that's something I'm going to have to go to and take a good solid look at myself now. All right. Robert Johnson writes, what movie gets the IMAX on December 21st? I don't know. I mean, whichever studio made the deal with IMAX. I mean, because, there's there's a few movies that don't need IMAX. But, like, Alita Battle Angel, I don't think that's going for an IMAX. I believe the only two that are really vying for IMAX would probably be Bumblebee, because we know Paramount likes putting their Transformers movies on IMAX screens. We know that. And Aquaman. If I had to guess right now, and this is pure speculation, I'm going to guess Bumblebee gets the IMAX screens. I can't say that for certain, but that's going to be my guess. Tyler Van Wagenwin writes, I get the DVDs from Netflix. That's awesome, man. Haven't been able to go to the theater much since my daughter was born. It's been freaking great. And again, Tyler, there are advantages, right? Like, if you have, like, say, your 3 movies at a time, and you watch your 3 movies in 3 days, send it back, get new movies back, you can probably conceivably go through 12, 15 movies a month. Right? For 10, 11, 12 bucks, instead of paying $5 per movie, renting it on streaming. There's a clear financial advantage to that. And you don't have to worry about your internet connection, and you'll probably have bonus features on the DVDs, and you can probably bring it to any room where you got a DVD player. I mean, there are advantages. Not enough to get somebody like me to do it, but depending on your viewing habits, that DVD service could still be a big value to some people, and thank you for raising your voice, Tyler, and letting us know about that. Last 2 questions of the day, then we'll wrap today up. Totaling Wolf, I love that name, writes, what are your thoughts on Altered Carbon? I'll be honest, I never watched it. There were a few friends of mine who watched it who didn't like it. Like my buddy Soul, who is like one of the big chief executives over at the Fine Brothers. He was like, I want to know what you think about Altered Carbon. Why? Do you like it? He goes, not necessarily, but I want to know what you think about it. And I just heard that from too many people. Like, I heard some people say they really liked it, but I heard from too many people that I know that they didn't think it was all that great. And I have very limited time to watch TV. So I try to limit my TV watching to things I know I'm going to like or highly suspect I'm going to like. And that just looked like too much of a big question mark. So I got to admit, I've never seen it. Lee Mallinson writes, you seen The Cooler with Alec Baldwin? Yes, Alec Baldwin, and I believe The Shoveler was in that. Was William H. Macy? That's the one with William H. Macy, right? Because William H. That's the right one that I'm thinking of, William H. Macy, I believe was nominated for a couple of awards for that. The Cooler, yes, with William H. Oh, I know Maria Bella. I forgot she was in that as well. Ron Livingston, but now I got to check to see if I was right about that, about the awards. Where's the awards stuff? There we go. Okay. I thought William H. Macy got nominated for stuff like that. Oh, actually, no, Alec Baldwin got nominated for that. Alec Baldwin got nominated for Best Supporting Actor. I thought William H. Macy got an Academy Award nomination for that, but no, it was Alec Baldwin. And he was great in it. I like The Cooler a lot. I got to admit, though, when I think of that movie, I think of the William H. Macy character more than I think of the Alec Baldwin character. I mean, it's because I love William H. Macy, but I totally forgot about that. Alec Baldwin was nominated for Best Supporting Actor in that movie. I totally forgot about that. All right, and last question of the day. Michael Alton writes, is the Joker movie a prequel to Flashpoint? No, I don't think so. I think this is a true standalone Elseworld standalone story. You know, but it's understandable, Michael, that you ask that because we live in this age now where everything's got to be connected to a cinematic universe some way, somehow. No, it's a true standalone movie. Like most movies have always been made. A true standalone story. I don't believe it's going to be connected to Flashpoint. I don't believe it's going to be connected. Well, we know it's not connected in any way to the DCEU. It's going to be a true standalone one-shot story. Like most of the best movies of all time are. true standalone one-shot stories. And I'm excited about that. And I'm excited because if this works and gets good critical praise and makes an okay amount of money, then my hope is that you're going to see the Marvel, you're going to see Warner Brothers, you're going to see others take stabs at making some outside of their cinematic universe movies, some true standalone, self-contained, Elseworld kind of stories. I think they're so, because it opens up the world of creativity. You can do anything now with those standalone stories. You're not handcuffed by what's going on in your cinematic universe. I would love for that to happen, but we got to see if the Joker ends up being any good or not. And that's going to determine it for sure. All right, guys, that will do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show. Thank you for being a part of today's show and being a part of this. Don't forget, a little bit later this afternoon, we do have open mic. That's just all open questions. That comes up at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So make sure you join us for that. And listen, guys, do me a favor. If you haven't done so already, this show is really able to be made possible not only by the super chats you guys send in, obviously, but also by our Patreon supporters. Do me a favor. If you enjoy our programming here, go on over to www.patreon.com/John Campea. Find out what it means to be a Patreon supporter, how being a Patreon supporter keeps this show on the air, and also the benefits of being a Patreon supporter, like audio-only versions of the podcast, the Facebook group, there's a few behind-the-scenes videos as well, and then maybe you'll want to become a Patreon supporter too, which would be awesome if you did. All right, guys, that will do it for me for today's episode of the John Campea Show. Thanks so much for being here. My name's John Campea, and until our next video, bye-bye.